Hey Opties! Today we're learning about factoring when a equals 1, a being the coefficient of our x squared. And remember, b is the coefficient of our x and c is our constant. So step 1 is to look for factors of c that add to b. Next, we're going to write two sets of parentheses where x is in the beginning, leaving space to fill in those two factors that add to b but multiply to c. And to check our work, we can simply use the distributive property and multiply out our factors, which are those things in parentheses, to see if we get back to our original standard form. So let's look at an example. Y equals x squared plus 4x minus 12 is our standard form equation given to us. And we set up our two factors. And these are called binomials, or they will become binomials. Binomial is just any polynomial, which we'll learn about extensively soon in another unit, but it just means it has two terms. So it's going to have an x term and then a constant term. The constants are those factors of c and those add-ins of b. Add-ins is a fancy way of saying things that add together, like factors is the fancy word for things that multiply together. So we found 6 and negative 2 to be our factors, because 6 times negative 2 is negative 12. And if you add them together, 6 plus negative 2, you get 4. So it works for our c and our b. So finally, we want to substitute our 6 and negative 2 into those blanks. So this is the true binomial. And you could swap the order. It doesn't matter because you're just multiplying the two binomials, and multiplication is commutative, which means you can swap the order and it does not change the value. So here is what happens if you would multiply that out. So you could do x times x is x squared, x times 6 is 6x, negative 2 times x is negative 2x, and negative 2 times 6 is negative 12. So you get that, and then you combine those like terms of 6x and negative 2x, and you get 4x. And you see that that is the same thing as what we started with. So that's the way you can check your work. Let's take a look at some practice. Number 1 wants us to factor the following quadratic, and our quadratic is in standard form, and a is not 1. So remember, the first thing we always need to try is factoring out a GCF. So we can see that all the ones place for these a, b, and c is even, so it is divisible by 2. So let's divide the whole thing by 2, which is our GCF, and we'll get y is 2 times x squared plus 7x plus 10. Now we want to find factors of c, which is 10, that add, or add-ins is what we could write, that add to 7. Okay, so what are some factors of 10? 1 and 10 and 2 and 5. So 5 plus 2 is 7. So those are going to be our two numbers to go into our parentheses. So remember, we're supposed to set up our parentheses, x blank and then an x blank. Then we simply write these in. Plus 5 because it's a positive 5, and plus 2 because it's a positive 2. Now let's check our work. X times x is x squared. X times 2 is 2x. 5 times x is 5x. And then 5 times 2 is 10. And we still have our 2 out front. So let's combine like terms, our x terms, and that should be a 5x. So 5 and 2 is 7x. And we have our plus 10 and our plus x squared, and then we have our 2. So finally, we would get 2x squared plus 14x plus 20. And notice that's what we started with. So you see what happens whenever you distribute? The ending number is the product of 5 and 2, the two numbers we just found, and that's how you get to the 10. And since you have x times both pieces, that's going to be a 5x plus a 2x, and that's what you do to get your bx. So you see how when you check your work, you can see the reasoning behind asking ourselves factors of 10 that add to 7, because that's literally where you get the standard form. If you multiply it back out, that's how you get it. It's the same exact numbers. So that kind of attests to the reasoning behind us using this method. Number 2, factor the following quadratic, and it's y equals x squared minus 5x plus 4. So factors of c, so that would be our 4. Factors of 4 that add to negative 5. So factors of 4 is really going to be 1 and 4, or negative 1 and negative 4. I didn't even address the fact that you could have a negative 1 and a negative 10 for our factors of 10, because it's a positive 7. You're not needing a negative number, so I didn't even really address that, but that would also work over here. But it is important to look at it here because notice our b value is negative. So negative 1 minus 4 equals negative 5. So those are our two numbers we're looking for. So remember, we're going to set up x in a space and then x in a space, and now we're just going to put them right into our two binomial slots. So negative 1 and negative 4. And remember, you could change the order. It could be y equals x minus 4 and x minus 1. Doesn't matter because multiplication is commutative. All right, that's it for factoring when a is equal to 1. See y'all next time.